It also gives you the ability to create date dimensions inside a cube where you can actually build date hierarchies. So you can have multiple different hierarchies. We have a physical hierarchy, you can have calendar hierarchy. There's all sorts of really cool things you can actually put inside of the cube that you can't do with just a traditional data warehouse. Also, on a side note, a lot of these items here that I'm talking about, the hierarchies and having the date, those are available inside of Power Pivot also too. There are some limitations though. For example, you can't do many-to-many inside of Power Pivot very easily unless you write some complex stacks to make that happen. In fact, a fact is also called a measure group. So you'll find that when you go from a data warehouse to a cube, you'll find that some of the terms change a little bit. Like for example, in your data warehouse, it's called a fact table, but in your cube, it's called a measure group. So if you hear fact, you hear measure group, basically the same thing. Measure group's actually in the cube though. A lot of other things you can put inside of there. You can put calculations in there with using MDX. You can also put in aggregations and partitions. Aggregations allow you to sum up data to certain levels so that you have those kind of pre-aggregated. So if I'm slicing by year all the time, it'll kind of store those numbers for me. So my reports run really fast in terms of spitting out that information. And we put partitions in there. So partitions allow you to slice up your fact table. So if you've got a large fact table with tons of information in it, you'll need to partition that out so your end users aren't hitting all that data. They're deploying out just the data they need. Typically, when you partition out a cube, you're doing it by date. And that's the proper way to fill a cube right there. If you're loading a cube, that's how you do it. Yeah, that coworker wasn't very happy about that. All right, so building reports. So last thing here, I talk about reporting. So you can build reports, and you can actually report from the cube using MDX. And the nice thing about reporting services is it has an MDX builder built into it. Now the MDX that it creates is not the best MDX in the world, but if you've got small reports and the MDX is okay, it's pulling back in terms of performance, then great, you can go ahead and use it. If not, then you may want to learn MDX and actually learn how to alter that and write the MDX to pull back data in a faster, using better performance and better practices in terms of the MDX standards. The problem is that MDX is quite a tough language to learn. It's not intuitive at all. The best advice I can give you if you decide you want to learn MDX, the best thing I can teach you is forget about SQL. Because there's a lot of things inside MDX that look like SQL but don't work the same way. So, reporting from a data warehouse. So I mentioned this earlier, so you can actually report directly from a data warehouse using SQL. So once I've got my data warehouse built, if you don't want to build a cube, you haven't learned analysis services yet, you don't want to mess with MDX, that's fine. You can open up reporting services and you can write SQL and pull data right out of that data warehouse. The SQL that you write will be a lot smaller and a lot simpler than what you had back in, say, your OLTP system. Because now instead of joining 20 tables together, I may only have to join 3 or 4. So that is a possibility. And you can also connect Power Pivot, again, directly to your data warehouse too. And it gives you the ability to do the items that Cube can do, like hierarchies. And this is a picture of one of my users trying to get into the Cube. All right, so that's the end of the slideshow. Let's go and let's actually look at some demos here and see how some of this stuff works there. Any questions before I go into the demos here? Let me see. Actually, we do have a couple questions. It's interesting you have SSRS reporting off the data warehouse as opposed to the cube. I know there's no correct answer, but is that what you typically see? Okay, so reporting services can do both. Reporting services can report off the data warehouse and off of the cube, like I just mentioned. So if you're writing MDX and you're slicing and dicing it, yes, definitely. Most of the time you're going to be coming off the cube. There are some instances though where I have actually pointed reporting services back to the data warehouse. For example, let's say my end user just wants to see a list of employees. That's it. They don't want to see numbers, measures. They don't need to slice it anyway. They just need a list of all the employees and their phone numbers. That kind of report is easy. That's just a select star from dim employee. I wouldn't use a cube for that. It would be a waste of my cube space there. So I would just go right back to my data warehouse and pull that for a list. Next question, Power Pivot only from ETL? No, Power Pivot doesn't only come from ETL. So typically, most people are going to create a data warehouse and then point Power Pivot to that. But if you've got a small data set and you don't care about keeping history, then yes, you can point Power Pivot directly to the OLTP. It is a choice. It's not the only choice, though. So which one is better? The question is answered by asking the question, do you need to keep history, and how much data do you need to analyze? And another question, people are building cubes separately. I assume they can get that to come into SharePoint similarly with data warehousing. Yeah, so SharePoint, you do have the ability to put Power Pivot workbooks in SharePoint, Performance Point. You can actually export Excel workbooks out there and reporting services reports out there to hit your data warehouse. You don't actually put the cube doesn't actually go in SharePoint. The cube will go into your analysis services database. And what is the book name you recommended to show your toolkit? Yes, Data Warehouse Toolkit. I'm sure I can bring up Amazon to show that to you. And let's see, Data Warehouse Toolkit, there it is. And that's it right there. Data Warehouse Toolkit, that's the one you want to get right there. And one more question I'll take before we move on to this is, let's see, Power View is not working as much of SSRS, but looking is nice and easy to create. Yeah, so with Power View is really easy to create reports. It's very, very easy to open up Office 2012, drag in Power View report, connect to your cube, or connect to your Power Pivot workbook and start slicing and dicing data. It's really easy to do. You lose control of the reports. You can't do as much. You can't change like down to the pixel level and do expressions and things like that as much on it. Where reporting services gives you great detailed control. So of course the question is, well, why would you do one over the other? Reporting services, if you need that control, let's say you've got some, you've got auditing reports, or you've got, your reports have to be just perfectly a certain way. Reporting services gives you that ability. Reporting services also have subscription built into it, so you can actually send out emails with links to the reports or actual PDFs of the report. And Power View doesn't have that option built into it, but it does look prettier, that's for sure. All right, so I'm going to move on here to just kind of show some of the steps here. I'll come back to answer some more questions in a little bit here.